Example 2 of division of polynomials box method notes. So in this example, we actually need to set everything up. The only thing I've done for you is number it. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to write our dividend on the bottom. What I want you to notice about our dividend is it goes from x cubed to just x. There's no x squared. So what we need to do in this case is we're going to have to put a placeholder in for x squared. So what that will look like is we're going to have x cubed plus 0x squared, because 0 means none, there are no x squareds, minus 4x plus 6 divided by x plus 3. So once I set up the box, you're going to see why we need this 0 as a placeholder. So to set it up, as I said, our dividend's going to go on the bottom. The way I like to set it up is I put the x cubed out in the front, and my second term, the 0x squared, is going to go by the first line. My third term, the minus 4x, is going to go by the next line. I like to do it this way because when I'm working on my diagonals, they'll line up. Finally, I have plus 6 at the next line. Also, I forgot to mention this, but this number, your highest exponent 3, lets you know how many vertical lines you need, and that's why we have 3 of them. Our divisor, x plus 3, is going to go over here. So now we move into box 1. This first term always goes in box 1, so I'm going to put x cubed here. Now I can go to box 2. Something times x is x cubed. Well, I've got one x and it needs to be x cubed, so this is x squared. X squared times 3 is 3x squared. And I'm going to be on a diagonal. I know my diagonals need to be like terms, so if I never wrote 0x squared and had my minus 4x here, things would not have been lined up properly. But this and this, they have to be like terms. So because this is x squared, it only makes sense that we have the 0x squared there. To find box 4, we're going to do 0 minus 3, and that ends up giving us negative 3, and they have to be like terms, so x squared. Something times x is negative 3x squared, so that's going to be negative 3x. Negative 3x times 3 is negative 9x. So I'm using multiplication and subtraction really to fill this whole thing out. I'm on the diagonal again. I've got negative 4x, and I'm going to do minus negative 9x, and that will give me this number. So in my calculator, I'm going to type negative 4 minus negative 9, and I actually get a positive 5, and they need to be like terms, so it's going to be an x. Something times x is 5x. That's just 5. 5 times 3 is 15. So I've got one more diagonal to do here. It's going to be 6 minus 15, and whatever that equals is going to be my remainder. So 6 minus 15 is negative 8. So I have a remainder of negative 8. So now I'm going to write my quotient, which comes from right here on the quotient line. X squared minus 3x plus 5, and I know it's a plus 5 because it's positive. And then my remainder is negative 8. So I'm just going to put a minus sign for the negative. 8 over x plus 3. I've got my remainder over my divisor. That's another example of division, and this is specifically with a missing term. So let's put a note over here that this problem has a missing term.